Hey guys, it's Valerie from LuLaRoe, Valerie Landquist. I am here today with a video on some do's and don'ts or tips and tricks of vendor events. I did my very first vendor event a couple days ago, this past Sunday, January 15th. It was a bridal show. There weren't a lot of what they would call cash and carry type of booths where there's items available for purchase. So we were next to a Pampered Chef booth and they had a few things available for sale. Other than that, it was just like photographers and caterers and venues and things like that. So I'm not quite sure if my experience was traditional as far as vendor events go for LuLaRoe, but I wanted to get my feet wet and test it out and see how I liked it. A girl who lives about 45 minutes from me asked me if I wanted to split it with her, so I decided to say why not and do it. So I just wanted to share some of my, like I said, do's and don'ts that I learned from my first vendor event with LuLaRoe. I've got my little notes here. They're not really in any type of order. I will just say that before you decide to do any type of vendor event, you should obviously weigh the pros and cons. That may seem like common sense, but for me, since I split the cost with another consultant, my share of the fees, and then obviously gas getting there and back, wear and tear on my car, stuff like that. The event was a little over an hour away. I needed to sell about 10 or 11 pieces just to break even. So to me, that was worth taking the risk because it didn't seem like that impossible of a feat. So I went ahead and decided to sign up. Also, you want to make sure that the vendor event is going to be well advertised. This one was put on by a communications company that owned a few radio stations, so it was broadcast on the radio a lot, and you know, it's a bridal event, so there were tons of brides. Again, if you're doing like a farmer's market, you want to gauge what other type of vendors will be there to see if it would be a good fit for you. So like I said, just kind of weigh your pros and cons before you decide if you want to do it. Also, pre-plan your space. We had a very small booth. It would have been great just for one consultant, but because there were two of us, I'd say we had maybe 700 pieces of inventory, so there was no room for a table and chairs, which the whole time planning I anticipated having a little setup to put my price list, have my business cards, have my sign-up sheet for pop-ups. And we weren't able to do that because there was just no room. So you definitely want to find out what the dimensions of your booth will be so you can plan ahead. We also didn't have room for a dressing room. If we would have had one, we could have made a few more sales. As you know, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're familiar with LuLaRoe. Either you're in the queue or you're a new consultant. And you really need to know your sizes. So going forward, you'll be fine, but you need to initially learn your sizes. And about 90% of the women that showed up at this event had never heard of LuLaRoe before, so there was a lot of educating that had to be done. And so to tell someone, oh, well, you're traditionally a large, but you would wear a small in this, you know, they really have to wrap their brain around that, and it helps to have space for them to try clothes on, which we did not have this time. So you want to pre-plan your space. Also bring help. It was just she and I, and she came a little bit, she showed up a little bit before me. So she set up her things and then I came in and set up my things. It would have been really nice to have, you know, one of our husbands or a friend or something help us, or for her and I to time it so that we were there at the same time to help each other. When we broke down and loaded up our cars at the end, we helped each other, so that was fine. But bringing help is definitely something that I would do next time that I did not do this time. Also, wear comfortable shoes. I wore little booties. They were flat, so I was fine. She wore little wedged booties, so she said she was comfortable. I saw a lot of women walking around from other booths in heels, and if you can rock heels for 8 hours standing on your feet, more power to you. I am not one of those girls, so I definitely am glad that I wore flat boots because my feet were hurting at the end of the day. I can only imagine if I was wearing heels. Let's see what else. Oh, book pop-ups. Like I said, I anticipated having a table set up where I would have my sign-up sheet for pop-ups. I had it on a clipboard, so I could have held it in my hand, but I also had my business cards in my hands because we were passing out business cards to everyone who walked by. So it just kind of would have been a lot to hold. That was something that I wish I knew beforehand, like I said, that we wouldn't have that table space. But definitely, don't hesitate to say, hey, would you like to sign up for a pop-up? I can bring all of these clothes to your home or to your office or whatever, and really try to book pop-ups from the event. Like I said, we may not have sold as many pieces as we would have liked because we didn't have, anywhere for them to try things on. However, booking pop-ups was something that kind of made up for that. So definitely don't be afraid to ask them to book a pop-up with you. Mentioned was business cards. We passed out our business cards. Bring plenty. I brought about 100, and that was fine. I think she brought a lot more than that, and she ended up taking a lot of them home. But obviously you want to sneak them into the bags with your care cards when someone makes a purchase, but also that's just a way to engage people as they walk by. Just put your arm out with your business card and say, have you heard of LuLaRoe? And that's really how we got all of our customers that came that day, was just by standing there and saying, have you heard of LuLaRoe, passing them a business card. And even if they didn't stop and shop or stop and look around, they at least went home with that business card with all of our information on there, so they can get home and add themselves to our Facebook group or email us if they had any questions, and so on and so forth. I also, obviously, like I just said, I brought care cards, so want to make sure you bring your care cards, have your shopping bags, same things you would do for an in-home pop-up you want to do for a vendor event. Let's see. Network with other vendors. Before the show opened and right after it started to die down, and like right after it closed, we got a lot of other vendors come and shop from us, which was great. Half of my sales were from other vendors, so that was definitely something that I didn't even think about, but I'm so glad that, they came over and that I made friends with the women who were in the booths beside us, because we got to talk and, just definitely network. Don't be afraid to talk to other people, even if you think that they may not be interested. You just never know. Everyone wears clothes, so you'd be surprised how many people are interested in clothes and shopping for clothes for themselves, because especially if they've been working there all day and they kind of want to treat themselves. So don't forget to network with the other vendors. Another do, I would say, that I did not do was to bring some sort of wagon or a dolly, something to help you bring your inventory into the space. Like I said, if you have help, obviously that's great, but I'm sure your helper even would love to have, something with wheels. So that was something that the girl that I did the vendor event with and neither one of us thought to bring. And luckily at the end there, when we were loading up our car, someone had a spare cart that they let us borrow. So invest in something with wheels so you can wheel your things in and out of the venue. Also, it's really good to have a promotion to draw people in. The consultant that I did the event with, she had a sign that said, ask me how to get leggings free for 6 months, because that was her current promotion for people who booked party with her in the month of February. So for me, I would do like ask me how to get a free pair of leggings today. And so you could come in and you could fill out a little slip. That way I had your contact information in the future if I wanted to email people and ask them if they were interested in hosting a pop-up. So I had their name and email or their phone number, whatever they felt comfortable giving me. And then you could be entered to win a pair of leggings that day at the event before they left. So they just had to come by the booth and see who the winner was. So just have some sort of promotion, some sort of incentive to bring people in, because that's something that I wish I did, was bring a sign like the other consultant did, because that really drew a lot of people in. They were like, oh, how do I get leggings free for 6 months? I love leggings. And so it was a conversation starter. So that's definitely a do. And also bring some extra hangers. You obviously want to overpack, because you're going to be in a situation where you can't just run home and grab something. Like for me, I was an hour away. Even if I was 5 minutes from my house, I'm not going to leave the event and go home and get something. And I didn't have anyone to bring me anything that day. My fiance was at work. So make sure you bring all the things that you think you might need. Like I brought scissors, I brought tape, I brought Mary Poppins bag full of things. But one thing I'm extra grateful I brought was extra hangers. Just from loading them up in the car and unloading the clothes when you get there, people manhandling the clothes not as delicately as you would like, hangers get broken. So I'm glad that I had extras. It was no big deal. They would apologize for breaking the hanger and I'd say, oh, it's no big deal, I have extras, and you just quickly put it on a hanger and hang it up. So that was the one last little tip that I wanted to share. If you have any tips or tricks or do's and don'ts for vendor events, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and want to see more, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to follow my journey. I'm going to be doing my 1 month selling LuLaRoe numbers here in about a couple weeks, and then from then on I have some more video ideas that I'd like to share with you guys, so I would really love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.